All right, well, it's 6:30, so we will call to order the planning commission. We'll do, this is Wednesday, June 5th, and we will do our roll call. So Commissioner White,
Present.
Commissioner Pereira,
Present.
Commissioner Bovers,
Present.
okay, Commissioner Mel. Present. Commissioner Matlock,
Present.
Commissioner Fitzgibbons,
Present.
and Commissioner Teal. So we'll move on to the approval of minutes from May 15th. We're looking for a motion, unless there's statements or comments.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed? So we'll move on to item number 30, the capital facilities element hearing for the 2024 conference plan. And there is no one here for public comment, so I will open the public hearing and close the public hearing at 6:31. And we'll allow the staff to do their presentation. Great.
So I don't have much to add with no public here. I'm not gonna go back into our presentation that I gave at the last meeting. I don't have much to add, other than we did receive a public comment from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I have prepared some additional changes for you to review based on those comments. They are some suggested changes that we could make based on those. They include changes to capital facilities, goal 3.1, adding language such as where feasible, the city will make low impact development the preferred approach to site development. LID is a stormwater and land use management strategy that strives to mimic pre-disturbance hydrologic processes of infiltration, filtration, storage, evaporation, and transpiration by emphasizing conservation, use of on-site natural features, site planning, and disturbed stormwater management practices that are integrated into project design. Additionally, it amends 3.3 to add taking into consideration future climate-related stressors. It amends 3.6 to add habit corridor linkages to the language. Adds 3.11 to collaborate with Wasatch, King County, and neighboring jurisdictions to plan and prioritize public and private culvert upgrades to ensure fish passage barrier removal, adequate projected stormwater passage, and continued climate-related adaptation to handle water passage into the future. And then additionally, it adds one section under 7.1J, consider future climate conditions during siting and design of capital facilities, including changes to temperature, rainfall, and flooding to help ensure they function as intended over their planned life cycle. So those are the additional proposed changes that we worked through the comments that were received in the Fish and Wildlife Department of Fish and Wildlife comments. We'd be happy to answer any questions. But those are the only ones that
I might not understand something here, but most of these are headed by CF or dash. But items 3.9 stand in CR. Oh, yeah, I didn't look at the code, like,
No, that's
okay, I don't ever mean to, that's, you know.
It's a typo.
But just,
they should be CF, they're all capital facilities, so we'll correct that typo with CF.
okay, thank you. Fine. I need to order.
I noticed that as I was reading it.
Are there comments, questions?
I was pleased to see the comments from WDFW. You know, it's nice to have other entities weighing in on stuff that provide insight into aspects of the community, stuff that we don't necessarily think about regularly. So personally, I think the additions are good. That type of thing.
So since I missed last time, are we opening up the whole capital facility document or just this proposal?
These are just the changes from the last meeting, but all comments and changes are welcome to be discussed and taken.
Was there a conversation or is there a need for some of the dating on like the adopted plan sections?
all the original red lines are the changes from the
Yeah.
previous update.
Yeah.
So if there's something else you'd like to,
Well, I'm just wondering if this is one of those cases where we can eliminate some of the dating so that in future revisions, you don't have to keep updating dates and numbers. So, for instance, say, let's say page 9. That is it, yeah, it's on. Page 15 of the PDF. It's happened in a couple of places, but they're in the middle of like the adopted plan, referencing the October 8th to 2020.
or is updated, yeah.
Yeah, does it make sense, or is that a requirement to keep updating that date, or can we just say the adopted plan as updated?
If it's a major document, it may be better to reference the specific date. If it's like a fact and figure, like the population was, that
Sure.
that I think was.
Just one of those things that, the adopted plans is in every single one of these little sections. And in each one, you reference a date that if you eliminated that, you wouldn't have to keep updating each time. Like, I didn't know if that was a requirement to, like you said, make it for bigger, fourth it, to reference that, or whatever the newest one was.
I think sometimes when we do big contracts, like ILAs and contracts, we can put in the dates.
Okay.
But when it's something annual, like the school capital facility,
Sure.
we don't, because it's just an annual.
Yeah.
So I think we have been putting the dates when they're.
Okay. It's I recommend it just for ease of future updating, but if not a big deal, you guys. Yeah, there's some places where you do have to obviously update the dates, that makes sense, but I felt like there would be totally the.
It's a good point, I can see both sides,
Yeah.
so.
One thing I didn't catch last week at the last meeting is, like at the very beginning of chapter 6, capital facilities, on page, just the very 7, page, the red 7. It'd be nice if that photo had a photo credit. And I think it would also be nice if all the photos had like a little title, like labeling what this is, wastewater management facility, and then date and whoever took the photo. And then same thing with like the outside pictures, just like outside from Meadowbrook, something like that. That already has, credit to the photographer, but it'd be nice to also have a caption.
So none of those are updated, so I have no idea who took it, because it's around 10 years ago, so. And the photos, we may end up changing them and updating them as we reformat the whole thing after.
Yeah.
When we're done, so. But that's good to note.
Yeah, I think we can certainly add a caption. Like that.
Yes, we can add
Clarify
captions.
or at the tree.
Speaking of captions in the other one, they're called. They're just saying delete them. You added a couple graphs, the one that looks like you put in from the last conversation we had.
Why don't we wait?
So we get to that
Yeah,
item.
that's-
Are there any other comments or questions for capital facilities element? Okay, I think we are looking for a motion. And we can make a motion to approve this to city council if we feel comfortable with that, or like approve it as is, or approve it subject to some of the things that we talked about today, like the CF numbering, possibly photo credit, the document, and the dates removed. Just depends on how you want to make the motion.
That's a complicated motion.
I will make a motion to approve the capital facilities element. And move it to council with it as written with the incorporation of Washington State. As well, but comments included this.
Happy to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. So we will move on to item number 4, energy and sustainability element hearing for 2024 comprehensive plan. And again, given that there is no public hearing, we will open the public hearing at 6:39 and close the public hearing at 6:39. And we'll allow staff to talk to us about this.
Right. The page. So. You got the introduction last time, so I don't need to spend much time on that. Getting into the edits, So at the last meeting, you guys had requested updating the figure that described greenhouse gas emissions inventory. It was rather frustrating doing that search. I realized how little good information there actually is out there. That's at least from a reputable source. So I did a lot of searching on the internet. There's various things from ExxonMobil, various things from other, private groups or advocacy groups, but I wanted something that was from like a recognized government source. So the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is the only figure that I could find that were very similar, a little more new, but it's just a very little bit more new.
Yeah.
From 2014 rather than 2011. So anyway, updated that, that is the most current thing I could find. Shows the similar percentages of greenhouse gas emissions. The additional comments from the tribe, I can't recall if those were in there the last time that we brought this. I think it's like something in person, so yeah, so you'll see those. The only other thing then was the comments from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, which we received yesterday. I was going to go through those with you because I've incorporated some, but there's other comments that they provided that I disagree with, and therefore it's not proposing. So some of the comments they provided were just suggestions, not specifically for code, but for programmatic activities, like adding things to our website in the future on educational information. So that's great. We can consider that as we develop some of our web content in the future. I have added, so going through their comments, I am on page 4. I think it's going to go the other comments to talk about the one on page 5. Or their page 5. The one at the bottom of the page there, I have added a policy based on that, but not in the section that they suggested. So this was in a different section regarding greenhouse gas emissions, but the addition that they were providing was really more about tracking changes in time on tree density and composition, which has a lot of benefits beyond greenhouse gas emissions. It's more about your urban forest. So I put the policy in the urban forestry section. So that's what you'll see in the handout at the bottom of the page, 17 on the handout. So that's their policy addition there. And rather than saying annually, which is not realistic for a small jurisdiction like within, I added periodically. Schedule is. Okay. The next one, they noted as ES 6.2 in the room number, we've redone the comments, it's 5.2 in their draft. They had suggested adding some stuff about sensitive development practices, siting design and so forth. I do not recommend adding that because it's totally the wrong context. So this policy is in a section about fiscal sustainability, about capital decision making. It's not a development issue. And so I really don't feel like it's appropriate in that section. And we do have other sections that are talking about development specifically, our green building section, other things that really address largely the same thing. So I was not proposing that. The next one, that's again, not something specific for suggested code amendments, just things to consider in the future. Next one there, they noted is ES 13.4, adding some language about critical areas regulations. And I again disagree with this comment because it's the wrong tool for the job. So this policy is in our urban forestry section, speaking specifically to restoring forest canopy and canopy health. So that's a restorative programmatic issue. The language that they were suggesting was adding strict regulations that protect. Those are really critical area regulations, and we have a critical areas element that has a lot of policies that talk about protecting critical areas and providing appropriate buffers. So I would rather not mix the two and leave this about urban forestry and programmatic actions. That's it then. So the last one was just, again, suggestions for other educational things that are code specific or content specific. And then the rest of the comments there were about other elements that are not reported here. So that's it for the summary. I think you guys have.
So the ones that you disagree with are in the urban forestry documents. So these are kind of as written, but in a different context in that document. Like it's already covered across the board.
Yes, so the urban forestry, the urban forestry one I added to that section. So that is something that we addressed with some comments. The others were other sections of comp plan and other sections of code. that we
Okay, so are the- So they are, so we, okay, so we just need to double check the code, sorry, I don't know, I said urban forestry, but so like, cause I remember looking at the code and I remember seeing a lot about retention of trees and canopy. So I think if there's a way to incorporate the verbiage that the department wants, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel the same as Ryan, or Commissioner, give it a start. And, yeah, I mean, as long as some of this WDW verbiage ends up somewhere in the comprehensive plan, just to me, it seems more of a matter of organization and whether or not talking about maintaining trees is a sustainability issue or it's, you know, an urban forestry issue. So to me, as long as it ends up one or the other.
Yeah, and I push back a little bit because having been a planner for probably almost 20 years, I really see the frustration of codes that get unwieldy, where you have one particular section of code that's trying to do something that's really not the right place for it. And you get all this overlap in your code, in your comp plan, where everything's trying to do everything, and it becomes a mess. So if we can leave critical area issues to the critical area policies and critical area regulations, that's really the best way to.
I agree, I'm really happy with the way that you put this together. So,
Can I speak to the canopy information out in there? I mean, it might not be in your, but is there some kind of a policy where the city says we encourage people to plant native trees?
Yeah.
I mean, I see it in our public areas that it's in the policy to plant or protect native trees, but also in our city.
Yeah, our development regulations
Okay.
require with new development, so landscaping is for new development, that they maintain at least 70% of the planted species are natives.
Okay.
And then there's also, there's, I think it's 50% native and 70% drought tolerant.
Okay.
The city actually has a list of.
Okay,
trees.
good. So I just find it on the website, I look, great.
that's it for me.
It'll leave it on. There was just a typo I found, instead of the word, so ES 13.9. Instead of it's supposed to be pursue, but it's a typo of purse. Thank you. So. That occurs in the edited and also the clean for,
Thank you.
Okay, the type of elements I mentioned was that graph you brought in, panel list. Type.
What is it?
On the caption, for that graph that you brought in, the carbon dioxide, critical greenhouse. Yeah, oh, sorry, page 68.
yeah,
Yeah,
IPCC.
Or Niagara.
oh, yeah, on the clean copy,
Yeah, it's tricky.
The others?
yeah, and then the next graph down below that, next page, department, Cincinnati, caption.
And it's good one. I think we are looking for a motion on this.
I will once again make a Motion to approve the energy and sustainability element to council as it currently seems that it's being.
Second.
All that, with all
corrections.
with all those corrections, either take it or not take it, yeah.
I'll second this time.
All in favor?
I,
And none opposed. So that motion carries. And we're on to item number 5, which is adjournment at 6:50 P.M.
Oh, sorry, can we, oh, now, again, just 1 second, this is, one minute. This side panel area, this, is that?
That's just because
Not
it's
crack
cracking.
change.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but then at the same time, maybe it's supposed to be intended for photo.
No.
Thanks.
Now, it does all sorts of weird formatting things when it's in track changes, so that's cool. Put a clean version in that, the final. No.
All right, good.
I like that, doing the track changes and the clean.
That's how I find sometimes spelling errors, because the track changes don't space quite right, so you accept them all, then you see that something didn't quite accept.
There's a lot of need of that page, PDF.
yeah, yeah.
Not the biggest I've seen, and